Hi, okay. I'm just going to quickly start over from where we started. This was the first screen. So these things that you see here at the bottom are the pop-ups that will become available when you hover over any of these explanations. So the first thing that you do is you have your products and services or project tabs. We'll just sort of display this in a modern way. So you can click on products and services or click on projects. You can add a project or a service. It's not the same thing. So if you add a product, this is the screen that you'll see. You can click Save and Add. If you want to add a project, it looks different. It looks like this. Adding a project looks like this. Adding a product looks like this. So just be aware that there are two versions of this. So then you determine your cost for your products, for your projects. You list the tasks. This will be the same for products and projects. Sorry, this screen doesn't exist anymore. This one exists. So then so in the beginning, nothing will be here. You'll just click Add Task, and then sort of this line will appear, and then you'll just write in clean area, clean entire area, click Enter, and then that'll be a task officially. So then if you click on the drop down, if you click on Add Task and click on the drop down, there will be clean entire area. It'll already be there. Or just above that on the drop down will be Create New. So then you add all of your tasks. So then all the tasks that you added are highlighted in blocks like this. So if you click on a block, it gets like this block, it gets highlighted like this. So if there's more than 4 blocks, you just scroll, you click on this button and you just scroll through. So this area, this highlighted area and this text here and that button there, all of it is it's hidden. So the only thing that shows is this plus until you hover over this area. So once you hover over this area, all of this comes available. Same with this. The only thing that will be available is tasks and this outline. As soon as you come near tasks, this suddenly becomes available. You can have a look at all the tasks that you had created before, and if you click on this little menu, it'll say duplicate or delete, basically. That's what it comes down to. Then the next thing is the drop down here. It just sort of hides some of the information so that it's not too busy. So the idea is that this block, as we discussed, will expand to create a it'll just take over a bigger part of the area, and then you'll be able to scroll through all of the areas. So this top part won't change, and this bottom part won't change. The only thing that will change is this here in the middle, right? So then you click on allocate resources. So before you can allocate any resources, you can edit your task here. It says this task is completed how many times when delivering how many square meters. Then it says assign the resources required, and it gives you here a summary of this cost. So that plus that will give you that. Not all of the tasks are direct expenses, some of them are all resources. All resources are is labor, permanent labor, and equipment. Direct expenses is temporary labor and materials, paint and tools and stuff like that. Okay, so because you haven't added any resources, we need to add a resource. So we can add a laborer. We've added a laborer before, but we need to be able to add equipment. So you choose between own or rent, and then this is the information you put in for own, this is the information you put in for rent. If you want to add tools, this is the screen. If you want to add raw materials, this is the screen. If you want to add general consumables, this is the screen and the subcontractor. So once you've added all of your resources, they'll come available in this drop-down list, so you can add all of them at the same time. Save a bit of time. Okay, so then you basically just say if it is in fact paint, the resource is paint, then the quantity will, the unit will be liters. So then you'll just put in 5 liters, and then the unit cost will calculate, and then the total cost will be the unit cost times the quantity used is the total cost. Right, and as we've stated earlier, because it's a material, it'll be a direct expense. Okay. So once you've added all of the resources here, you can just click on this arrow and it'll take you to the next task. Okay. Or if you click on resources allocated, it just basically minimizes that view, reduces that block, and it just brings you back to this one. So then you can view a summary of your resources, summary of your tasks. So the summary of your tasks can also be a different view. So we can maybe put in sort of a view change somewhere, and then instead of clicking on summary on tasks, yeah, it moves away from this block view and gives you then a list view. Okay. Then you click on complete. So you'll see that this top part was hidden previously, right? Now this becomes available, because what happens is once the system has your costs, what we'll do is we want to include our overheads. Yeah, we want to include our target revenue and our profit revenue, and our target profit in here. So once the system has this information, the target information and the cost, it is able to then forecast the sales. Okay, so basically it'll determine a safe price and volume sold, so that you can know how much of each product you need to sell at what price to actually meet your target. Okay, so what we want to do is determine a target, right? First, you give us your current revenue or loss, then you add your overheads. So the equipment and assets that you've added already will already be on this list, but you can add new ones if you want to. Same with payroll, okay? So all the payroll that you've added previously will be here. If you want to add someone new, like a receptionist that you haven't actually used before because they're not involved in the actual process of making a product, then you add them here. Then you have your operating cost. This is just the rent, utilities, and all of that stuff. So I'll try and create a pre-populated list of this that people can just fill in or delete if it's not applicable, and just they can add. If you click on add here, it just opens up a new line. Okay. So then click on complete target, right? So then your target has been completed. You now give me your current target. So you don't want to give me a monthly revenue target or a monthly profit target. So once you did that, you see we have our target right here. And we will then determine a safe price. All this means is that the system then calculates a price for you and tells you how many of this product you need to sell to meet your forecast. So you can then change here on the slider. You can change, if you slide this, then that changes. So if you feel like you can't sell 123 of this, then you just make it less. And if you make this less, this will automatically increase. So this is your gross margin. So once you increase this, it increases your overheads and your profit. Okay. So once we have this information, the last thing that we want to do is determine the final price. To determine the final price, we want to look at the competition. So you basically add competitor 1, competitor 2, competitor 3, and you just drag yourself where you feel you are on that list. As you drag, this will update, and the safe price will come in from the previous screen, and then the final price you choose yourself. You can click on this to have a breakdown of the final price. Cool, so then you allocate your price and then you're done. Basically all you then do is do this for all of your products, and then you can play around with your business model and make sure that it fits your business. Okay, so the other thing that you need to note is this month, right? So every month you need a new forecast, okay? So every month, because seasonal change of sales affects the business, every month needs a new forecast. You can just click on that if you want to use the same forecast for last month, but every month needs a new forecast. So if you change anything here, all it will do is it'll affect the forecast for this specific month. So for February, you can change this however you want to, and it won't affect January. Okay. So only once you've invoiced anything, this column here will be populated. So basically also when we change something here, okay, if you want to change your overheads, meaning you feel like 123 is a feasible target, but you also know that because of the market you can charge more. You want to and you increase this, right? But you want to lock this. So all you do is you lock that one and increase this one. Then what will happen is your forecast will go up. It'll then not stay constant with your target. But as soon as all of these are unlocked, the system will always make sure that that equals that. Okay. Then that's basically the entire setup. The only thing that we have then left to do is there's a overhead screen, so where you'll basically be able to view your overheads and view your resources. Okay, so this is the resource screen. All this means is that you are able to get a view. So there's just a list view of all of the resources that you've entered, because there's no other way of you finding all of the resources. Maybe you want to edit something or delete a resource or whatever. So this is just a list view of all of the resources. But because we have the data, when you forecast your sales and when you invoice sales, we can then create a graph like this. So we can basically tell you, how much of your salary have you actually covered, or in forecasting. So we'll basically I need to add in a view here that says forecast or invoice. So this graph then gets updated between forecast and invoiced. So basically all it means is that you can see your resource usage, which is extremely valuable for small businesses to see what their resource usage is. I'm sure you can understand as a small business owner yourself, you want to know if I price something, if I price 3 or 4 projects a month, how much of my time that I actually sell, and this thing will then be able to tell you. Okay. So then we also have the dashboard. Please don't build this dashboard. We'll create a new one. It'll be the last thing that we do. Like the same as we have the resource list, we'll have one for the overheads, but the overheads one won't have this tracking tool. It'll literally just be a list, and the tabs here at the top will just be labor, equipment, and general. Okay. So then, because we are able to invoice, we need to be able to just add a client list, but this is as generic as falling out of a tree. Then we also need to just give or allow the user to input some of the details of their own business details, address, and invoice details. That's also fairly simple. Then the next thing that the user will be able to do is this. So he will be able to choose a customer or add a new client if he wants to. He will be able to choose his payment type, once-off, recurring, or periodic. You'll be able to add a product, and you will be able to see the resources that he's going to use in that specific product. Okay. That is basically it. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please go through this. Okay, then there's just also the invoice list for you. So please play around with these wireframes and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.